Hello everybody, it's me, the Excellent Reviewer, and although I've been gone for a while, it still hasn't stopped me from observing things in the world of professional wrestling. And today, I wanted to talk about Shinsuke Nakamura, since he is one of my favorite wrestlers going, and just how far he really has fallen since coming to WWE. So without further ado, this is the rise and fall of Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura made a name for himself in New Japan Pro Wrestling, quickly being nicknamed the Super Rookie. And he is a former three-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, a former winner of the G1 Climax, the greatest IWGP Intercontinental Champion of all time, holding the title 5 times and having a combined reign of 901 days as champion. He also had so many incredible rivalries with Katsuyori Shibata, Minoru Suzuki, AJ Styles, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. However, something happened that could happen to anyone who stays in one place for too long. Nakamura became complacent. He had been with New Japan since 2002, and he did everything that is possible to do in the company. And if he were to continue to stay, then naturally, I think he would have gotten bored. So, him leaving the company only made sense. The night after Wrestle Kingdom 10, it was announced that 4 of New Japan's biggest stars would be leaving the company and going over to WWE. And they were Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was a huge hit to New Japan, losing 4 major stars. But these 4 were adamant on going over to WWE for greener pastures. After his final match in New Japan, we didn't hear much of Shinsuke Nakamura until one night in NXT when William Regal told Sami Zayn that his opponent for NXT TakeOver Dallas was going to be none other than Shinsuke Nakamura. This had people excited that the king of strong style was finally in WWE, and in NXT no less, which was doing some of its best work at the time. So the match was set. The match at TakeOver was one of the best WrestleMania weekend matches of all time. And had so many people talking about Shinsuke Nakamura. Who is this Shinsuke Nakamura? And I remember thinking to myself that I had to just watch this match because so many people were talking about it. And thus, I was introduced to the king of strong style himself. Soon after beating Sami Zayn, Nakamura would end up going basically to rise to the top of NXT, beating some of its biggest names that NXT had to offer, including Austin Aries, Samoa Joe, TJ Perkins, as well as Finn Balor. But his top achievement at the time would be winning the NXT title 2 separate times before giving up the title to Bobby Roode. And shortly afterwards, he debuted on SmackDown, interrupting The Miz, and he was quickly inserted into a feud with Dolph Ziggler, where he ended up beating up Mr. Ziggler himself. But slowly, the mystique that Nakamura built was starting to rust away as he was being put into matches with people like Ziggler, Rusev, and Baron Corbin. But to be fair, this was before Baron Corbin's career was basically dead. However, we saw a glimpse into the future at the 2017 Money in the Bank pay-per-view when Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles had a face-off in the middle of the Money in the Bank ladder match. This moment was brief, but boy did it get people talking about the potential rematch between the two, which we will get to soon. Shortly afterwards, Nakamura was put in the WWE title picture when he beat John Cena to become the #1 contender to Jinder Mahal's WWE Championship. Now, let's think about that for a second. John Cena, one of the greats in WWE, and Shinsuke Nakamura, who are 2 of the best and biggest superstars, were fighting each other to see who would face Jinder Mahal. God, fuck my life. Shinsuke Nakamura would end up winning that match, and he would also take on Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam, where he would end up losing to Jinder fucking Mahal. and the rematch would happen at Hell in a Cell, where Nakamura lost once again, in the exact same way. Although he was losing to Jinder Mahal, I still believe that WWE had something special in store for Shinsuke. It was November when AJ Styles beat Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship on SmackDown Live, and thus, an opportunity was created at the Royal Rumble. The one event where anyone can win this match in main event WrestleMania. And finally, Shinsuke got his first big push when he won the Royal Rumble match, last eliminating Roman Reigns, and he would challenge AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. The build-up for this match was a little bit lackluster, but the fact that these two were having a WrestleMania match for the WWE Championship to begin with was enough for the fans to stay hyped. And then we got to WrestleMania, where these two would have their first rematch since that amazing Wrestle Kingdom 10 match. The stakes couldn't have been higher, especially for Shinsuke Nakamura. And the match was pretty much a disappointment that didn't live up to the hype. But the most notable thing that happened in that match was when Nakamura turned heel by attacking AJ Styles. And just like that, a new chapter was written for Nakamura. And surely this had to be a good thing, right? Well, see, here's the thing. The thing that made the first Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles match so special was the fact that these two had never wrestled each other before. Two of the best wrestlers who had never really fought each other, finally fighting each other. WWE took that formula and homogenized it, basically because they had match after match after match, finally culminating in a last man standing match at Money in the Bank 2018, where I thought maybe, just maybe, Nakamura would finally pull it off after months of chasing the title, and he lost. By the time this rivalry came to an end, fans didn't really care, and the most entertaining part of the feud was anytime Nakamura hit Styles in the balls. But ultimately, Nakamura was hurt by the feud because after countless matches, he was never able to capture the WWE title once. Nakamura would, however, capture some sort of gold when he beat Jeff Hardy at the Extreme Rules to become the United States Champion. Okay, it wasn't a WWE Championship, but it's still a championship nonetheless, so WWE had something special planned for him, right? Alas, not again. Because he was regulated to working the pre-show matches on some pay-per-views, and he would end up losing the United States title to Rusev, where he would quickly regain it, only to lose it to R-Truth. R-Truth of all fucking people beat Shinsuke Nakamura. I hate my life. I hate my life and everything about it. But more importantly, I hate you, WWE, for doing this to a man who is one of the best. Who is one of the best of all time. And you're making him lose to R-fucking-Truth? Okay, I apologize for that little bit of meltdown. Just, had to vent for a little bit. But after losing the title, WWE then put Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura into a tag team, which was something different. And they had this vibe about them, similar to The Bar, and the fact that they were these two heels that I don't like you, but I don't like you either, and we're gonna team up together, and we're actually gonna be a great tag team together. And, like how The Bar turned out. So, naturally, you would think that this would lead to some huge tag team success. But it didn't. They quickly had become nothing more than a jobber team, and no real plans have been made noticeable other than for them to stay as a jobber team. And that's where Shinsuke Nakamura is right now. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura ultimately was one of the most unique wrestlers that WWE had ever signed. And while there were signs of greatness in front of him, like with the match with Sami Zayn, and his whole entire NXT run, it ultimately failed to transition him well on the main roster. And sure, you can blame WWE Creative for this, you can blame that they have nothing good for him, but the blame also falls on Shinsuke Nakamura himself, because he seems to have become complacent with his role and is fine being where he is. If he really wanted something more, he would push for it. But ultimately, it is a shame that he hasn't been properly used. And although people say he should leave and go back to New Japan, there would be no real point. Because the reason he left New Japan was because he wanted something different. And if he were to go back, there isn't much that he could accomplish besides maybe one more reign with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And that would be about it. But despite what other people might say about his current reign in WWE, he has had some success. He's won the NXT title. He won the Royal Rumble. Not only that, but he had a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. And also became a United States Champion. So he has had some success. Ultimately not the success that we all wanted for him, but he still has had quite the success story. Ultimately, only Nakamura knows what he's going to do next. But this has been the rise and the fall of Shinsuke Nakamura.